What's going on, everybody? It's definitely been a while since we've seen each other. I'm excited to hear from you, and excited for you to hear from me again. I haven't made a video in quite some time. To be completely honest, I thought nobody really watches these videos, and what was the point? But uh, that's actually not the point and not the way that I should be thinking. This is something that I feel that God has me doing in this season. And who am I to be disobedient and tell God what works best for me? So just wanted to share a little bit of, I guess, what God's been dealing with me about for the past couple of weeks here. Definitely today. And it's really just like one word. It's reconciliation. Which is a very loaded word, but it's also an amazing blessing. Reconciliation is basically like, the awesome ministry of restoration. And how I look at it, it's like, how it's like, when you, let me see, I'm trying to think of the best way. It's resolving. It's like when you, let's say you had a credit card or some type of bill and you done got in way over your head, and they call you and try to put together some kind of plan for you. So they try to resolve your debt or settle your debt. It's a settlement. Reconciliation is a settlement. So it's like, look, I'll go ahead and I'll eat up this bill for you, and you pay this small fee. So if you owe $700, we're going to make a settlement with you of $250 or whatever it is you can afford, and we'll go ahead and we'll write off the rest of that debt for you. And in that way, that's what Christ does for us. And since he has done that for us, we have the awesome ministry and responsibility of reconciling to one another, to the nation. Like I was reading in 2 Corinthians 5, I think it's 18, and it says, the old life is gone, a new life emerges. Look at it. All this comes from the God who's settled the relationship between us and him, and then called us to settle our relationships with each other. God put the world square with himself through the Messiah, giving the world a fresh start by offering forgiveness of sins. God has given us the task of telling everyone what he is doing. We're Christ's representative. We're ambassadors. We're representatives of Christ, just like it says. We're promoters. So if God was the best concert you can ever see, we're promoters and trying to get people to come see the show and to come enjoy yourselves and add some excitement and adventure and amazing journeys to your life just by coming to take part in the Jesus movie, I guess. I don't know another way to say it, but anyway, we're Christ's representatives. God uses us to persuade men and women to drop their differences and enter into God's work of making things right between them. We're speaking for Christ himself now. Become friends with God. He's already a friend with you. And I know you're asking, how do you do that? How do you do that? How has God done that? It says God put the wrong on him who never did anything wrong, so that we could be put right with God. So in other words, just like when you call or they call you to settle that debt, they didn't accumulate that debt. They didn't have anything to do with your bad decisions on going out here charging thousands and thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars. Yet and still, they see that, hey, we want to give you another chance. Because things happen. Everybody gets in situations Everybody makes bad decisions. So this is what we want to do to help you and to help your credit. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take this burden off of you that we didn't cause, so we can help you be in rightful standing with your finances, with the creditors, and just remove the stress. So tell us what you can afford, and so we can go ahead and work with you. And that's what God does. He trades our debt for His righteousness and His freedom, and give us a fresh start, a fresh new life, a stress-free life, for lack of a better phrase. He resolves our debts with Him. He recertifies us so that we can go out and do that for someone else. This over the weekend, God used me as a conduit to start the conversation toward healing in my family, and I was able to actually see what God was trying to reveal, and like it was happening like right before my eyes. It was like the most beautiful thing. Like, sometimes it's not that people don't want to have the conversation, or it's not that people don't want to go, or don't want to have, or don't want to venture off into, or get something started, or not that they don't have ideas. It's not that. It's sometimes people lack the confidence, lack the know-how, or simply just don't know how to start. Some people simply don't know how to start a conversation, and that doesn't make you a bad person. And I think that God puts people in our lives to help us through those rough spots, to encourage us to push a little harder, for us to love a little longer, love a little stronger. And in the end, you're winning a soul, or souls in the end, because when you help people in that way, because those are some deep, intimate situations most of the time, it kind of gives them a different outlook on things they didn't even know that they had to look at, or that it was available to them. It's just amazing. Like, you literally start to see growth happen, like, right before your eyes. No matter how hard it was to get the conversation started, or to expose hidden issues, or not exposing to hurt, exposing to heal. Because you have to acknowledge and deal with things so that you can heal. You have to acknowledge, deal, heal. I was listening to Ayala, and she was talking about something like that, and it's the absolute truth. If you're exposing to hurt, then you have the wrong motives, and God is not in that. God is not in that. He does not expose us to hurt us at all. He exposes to help. He exposes to heal. He exposes to rectify. He exposes to restore. Period. Point blank. Period. Point blank. Period. Point blank. So anyway, reconciliation, there's no way around it. If you truly want to be happy and you want to be free, you have to reconcile. We have to reconcile with each other, and we have to reconcile with God. And God doesn't keep a record of our wrongs. Therefore, we shouldn't keep a record of wrongs with each other. We should simply say those apologies. We should love on purpose, love through, love in spite of. We should just be more understanding. Man, be understanding that we are human and we all make mistakes, whether it's one you're aware of or one that you aren't. And if God thought so much of us to send his son, who was pure and holy, never did any wrong, to take on all of our ratchetness so that we can be free and like his people again, then we need to extend that same type of reconciliation, which is an act of love, and it's a mature act as a ambassador, aka representative, aka a promoter of Christ. Ambassadors are high-ranking officials, so that's a high calling to be considered. To be an ambassador of any kind, ambassador of Christ, ambassador of the government, whatever it is. I was reading something here. It's in my journal, and it says sooner or later we'll have to face God regardless of our conditions. We will appear before Christ and take what's coming to us as a result of our actions, either good or bad. So, regardless of what you do or have done or are doing, at the end of the day, we all are going to have to face God, and he's going to ask those questions, those hard questions. So why not just take the opportunity to get together now and just love each other on purpose, for a purpose, because we're all purpose for Christ. So reconciliation is an awesome task, and we should consider it a blessing, and we should continue to spread love cheerfully, because that's very pleasing to God. It's very pleasing to him. And when we love cheerfully, when we give cheerfully, when we love people regardless of their conditions, current, previous, whatever conditions to come, when we love anyway and we show the love of Christ, that's pleasing to Christ. That's the main thing. That's what we aim to do. That's what he all about. God is love. So if you have issues or feeling some kind of way or whatever, reconcile to your brother and sister. Reconcile to Christ today. Do whatever it is you have to do. And yeah. Reconciliation is very freeing. Reconciliation is not, it's so freeing, it's almost uncomfortable. But once you have it, you won't turn back. You won't accept anything less. You won't accept anything less from yourself and from anybody else. But when you reconcile, when God removes those things, then you need to restore that pain that you are used to carrying. You need to put something else there. Fill it with the word, fill it with the love, fill it with love, fill it with more positive people. Or else, you're going to go back looking for that thing that's no longer there. And, that can open up a whole other doors that we just don't want. So anyway, that's all that I wanted to share. I'm trying to keep these down to 15 minutes, guys. So I miss you guys. I hope it wasn't a bunch of rambling. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what God is trying to say to me. So I thought if I got it out a little bit, then maybe it'll spark something in you. And if you want to, send me an email or something, you can do that. But hey, I'm gonna leave with this. Word on the street is you're some kind of awesome. Period. And don't let anybody tell you differently. You are awesome. And if you don't think you are, then start thinking it today. Let today be the beginning of your awesomeness. It's never too late.